Welcome back, everyone, to the Beef Tongue Podcast.
Sometimes we forget.
I'm with
Sometimes
my
we forget.
ex-wives, Cola and Jack.
Hello.
Yo.
What up, gentlemen?
So
All right.
fun fact.
Hmm?
I'll go first. Fun facts.
Yeah.
Bees can fly higher than 30,000 feet above sea level. That's higher than Mount Everest.
Which animal?
So-
again?
That is hot.
Bees.
Oh, bees. Whoa.
That's crazy.
So they flew. Who has documented this?
It says they found the airplane. They found airplane pilot found a bee. Because I guess they hit the windshield of the plane like a car.
Really? That's a little sus because what if the bee hopped on the airplane and then
Beforehand,
it was just hitching a ride and then it tried to fly out and then it got stuck
it
on
got a bug splat hit the window. Maybe they need to change that fun fact. It's like, okay, it was a bee trying to hitch a ride and it tried to fly off, but it got hit by the plane when it was trying to fly off.
But okay. I'll give it to him. I'm like, what the fuck was it doing like in Mount Everest? There's no fucking hours.
I know. I was just like, what the hell? Like, wait. First off, who measured that height? How did they measure that? And just like, how would you equate that to Mount Everest of all places?
Because I think it's higher than Mount Everest. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, that just seems like it was like an eyeball type of thing.
Rocky, you got one for
Yeah.
us?
Yeah.
All right. You know, since we were on the topic of
Bees.
of food and bees,
Mind about food.
Everybody's hungry.
So there's a story of a peanut butter company that sent its product out for quality testing, but happened to fail. So what they did was that instead of reworking their product or tossing it like they should have, they just sent it out to another lab to test again, only just taking a different portion of that batch that was not contaminated and setting it out. And it caused a really big issue to where it resulted in the death of a few people or one person. Yeah, because they didn't regulate it. They're just like, well, shit, I'm not getting rid of this. Just send it out to this person, see if they find something. Because the way that the testing works for food manufacturing is that you can't test the entire batch. You can only test a portion of it and just assume that it's the equation for the entire batch. Okay. So they did this for the peanut butter, and the peanut butter was infected with salmonella or had salmonella, and they still distributed it out to the public. So it's considered first-degree murder because you knowingly did that. You knowingly did that, and the CEO of that company was arrested.
Yeah, that's what like the Sackler family did. They knowingly sold drugs that were addictive.
Mm-hmm. So that was considered first-degree manslaughter. Yeah.
Damn.
So that was my fun fact. It was a very famous one for the food industry.
Crazy. Thanks, Walker.
What you got, Jack?
So
All
take
right.
it serious.
What you got that's more fun than that?
Fun fact: broccoli, cauliflower, kohlrabi, kale, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts are all part of the same plant species. Yeah.
What is kobali?
It's a type of vegetable that has a very thick root. So they're all part of the same species, like kale and cabbage and broccoli. They're just, they're just selectively
Evolved differently?
no, they're just selectively grown. It's kind of like
with
how you
certain
have
parts.
chihuahuas and like Labradors and Great Danes. They're all
Uh-huh.
the same species, but they're different breeds that were
Right, but they don't come directly off the same parents.
Well, yeah, they're selected to be smaller or taller or furrier. It's kind of like that with this plant. Broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, they're all the same plant. It's just they were selected differently to emphasize the leaves or the cabbage or something. So we're all just eating the same vegetable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And yet kale is the superfood out of those ones, and maybe broccoli.
No, I mean they all have some good stuff too. But point is, they're all the same vegetable, and they're all really tasty when you roast them.
Even though they look like the genital warts of the same plant species.
Yeah. It's like one person decided, hey, I want these cabbages, but a little smaller. So they had Brussels sprouts, or some people like the little buds that the plant sprouted, but they didn't want it to flower, so they made sure that it didn't flower, and that's how you got broccoli.
Have you seen Brussels sprouts grown on the stem? That's crazy.
Yeah.
First time I seen it, I was like, oh shit. Oh my god.
I haven't seen it. What's it supposed to look like?
I mean, the thing is, it's just a long stem, and on the side of it, it's just little pods of like lettuce, cabbage, or just around it. I thought it was interesting. I mean, you can buy it like on the stem too.
Oh, nice. Well, I mean, like, I don't know. It's just, that's like all these plant lies about or these food lies about certain kinds of foods, like raspberry not being an actual, or what was it? Blue raspberry not being an actual like fruit flavor. It's just chemicals. Or like baby carrots not being actual like baby carrots.
Yeah,
anyways,
tiny carrots.
I know how tiny carrots are made, so
they're made by people who fuck big carrots and make little carrots.
They're aborted carrots.
Anyways, moving on to today's topic. Cola, Jack, you guys like Marvel, right?
No.
Yeah.
You don't? You don't like Marvel?
Fan of Marvel.
I wanted to.
No, I'm DC, baby.
Fuck your DC. I wanted to dedicate our segment to one of its greatest heroes, Thanos. That's right. One of the greatest heroes in the Marvel Universe. All he wanted to do was increase the resources for everyone by wiping out half the universe. Seems like a fair trade, in my opinion. I wanted to know your guys' thoughts.
I agree too. At this point, Thanos was right, and he should have done what he had to do. But he was doing planet Earth a favor by getting rid of them. So then it could be more reasons for everybody else.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He was only
see?
thinking
But now
of-
that we have inflation, and now Dan was right. We could have gotten rid of inflation.
So
Yeah.
Thanos was always the good guy.
And
Speaking of good guys, we wanted to move on to today's topic of how can you tell if a person is really bad? I forget how we aspired to this topic, but
I think it's if we listen to the last episode, we were talking about something and then we went off on a tangent and we had another topic that we were going to go off on. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. We should save it to the next topic. That's how we came to this one.
yeah, there you go. So that's the origin stories of how Beef Tongue works. So yeah, the topic revolves around the idea that we deal with all colors of people throughout life. Some better than others, but from all of our experiences, we wanted to go into the idea of what makes a generally bad person. And maybe one day you viewers at home can use those tools and identify your own bad people. Get rid of them. Thanos snap them. Which one of you wants to start us off?
Go ahead, Cola.
I had a story. I think I probably mentioned it before. Is when you invite somebody to go do something, they don't respond back, and they go out to do it, and they go to the same place you went to, and then you find them doing the same thing. Like, forget it. That's the last time. It should be a continuation of like, but forget it. Like once I found that out, I was like, forget it. I'm not talking to this person again.
So he caught
Yeah,
him.
and I post. Yeah, and I think that's the same time I would like stop using Facebook. Ultimately, I was like, I'm done with this. Right.
So that was your experience with what you defined as a bad person.
No, it's just that there's more. There's more. Generally, like I could probably sense it the moment I meet the person. Right, they're not a good person, and I just walk away, like try not to have friendly conversations or nothing. It's like I genuinely like.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
I
a
hate
lot of
dealing
us
with
have
people.
ignored. I'm pretty sure a lot of us have ignored the stranger danger rule, anyways.
Yeah.
That's how your parents met.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, like, for me, like if somebody's a little bit, for me, like my experience is somebody is being too friendly with me, I'm like, forget it. That's the worst person. That's the worst person ever. It's like if a stranger comes up to you and try to have a conversation, I'm like, nah, man, I'm not having a conversation with you. I don't know what you're doing. You're trying to size me up so you can rob me later. So forget it.
Bro, who hurt you?
Damn.
But like
Yeah,
that's
hurt.
true. I mean, for like if because I travel a lot around the world, it's always that situation. It was where like when people come up to, it's like a little bit too busy. Same thing that happens in like a big city as well, because you never know, like anybody can like size you up and like see what you're made of and like take advantage of you when it does happen. So yeah, if someone's a little bit too friendly, then yeah. Like I can come off a little bit too friendly to people and people are just off and like, that's fine. I don't care, but like, I understand that part. So for it.
I might come off as too friendly. Is it because of it's like you're too friendly or you have a
Yeah, I think it's too it's too friendly. It's just like
it's
I think
motive or something like that.
I think it's like people who come up too
I'm gonna
friendly
need
they're I think people who come off too friendly are trying to like break down those barriers. And once they break them down, they take advantage of it, right? It's like, oh, I need $10,000, right? And then boom, they're gone. Right? You give them the money and they're gone.
I'm gonna need a bit more elaboration on this, just because, yeah, I mean, there is some deep rooted hate there. So it's just, I wanted to kind of, tap into that a little bit here, of like, okay,
It's
what was such a definitive experience that created that mentality?
I think it's
Not to say that
I
you're
just
negative. It's just,
I think it's just city living, right? You know, you grow up in the Bay Area, you live in LA. It's just how it is when you're living in the city, right? And that's how like that's how crazy it is. Is like once people come up to you, ask you certain questions and stuff, they're just really sizing you up and trying to rob you at the very end of the day. And that has happened to me where someone just asked for the time, have a conversation, and I'm like, get the fuck away. I'm not dealing with you right now. Because the thing is like the idea is like, oh, check the time though. You look at your watch, they kind of see, oh, what kind of watch you have, or you pull out your phone, see what kind of phone you have, and then snatch it or snatch it away from you. And that's like, and ultimately that's the story behind it. But like, first of all, no one should be asking for direction or time anymore. It's like everyone has that information is available to people, and like everyone has their own.
you,
Oh no.
you remind me of that episode of The Simpsons where Homer went to New York, and then like no matter what was happening, like everyone was robbing him.
Right? It could be
Um,
it could be on the down low, it can be overt, but like it happens. So
uh, yeah, it's funny to imagine things like that. It's funny to imagine people stealing nowadays. Honestly, still, it's just like, I don't know. It's like take for example, I was watching a video of a Best Buy, a surveillance camera of a Best Buy, where dudes like walked in and they were intending to steal the display phones. So it looked like such a sad. It looked really sad, like more than anything. It's like these things, like yes, these things are worth money, but it's just like not the kind of money that you would want to go
Also,
through that kind of trouble for, if it's like hooked up directly to like a big ass like stand and display. You just see them like try to grab the phone, like yank it as hard as they can off the thing and run off. And then you see like the fucking Best Buy staff just like bouncing, just ready to like tackle them and shit.
isn't there also features that make it unusable if you do actually steal it?
like
I
a
know they
display
have that
version.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know they have that for Apple iPhones in their stores. Like if you steal an iPhone, it has GPS tracking and a bunch of other features so that if it's stolen, people can trace it and stuff.
I was watching or I wasn't watching it, but I saw that the end result of this was that I was at a grocery store. Saw a Mexican dude trying to walk out of the store with a beer without paying for it, a case of beer. One of the staff members just like slapped that shit out of his hand. It just dropped to the floor. And then he's like, tired of people like you. And then he just he grabs the case and walks away. And then the guy, he was just like, he didn't even look mad. He didn't look scared. He just looked like that was a mild inconvenience in his day. Like, now I don't have beer. And he just walked out. It was just like, that's like, and that's the thing. It's like, that's got to be such a normal thing for some people that it's just like they don't even realize that they're wrong. But it's just funny. But yeah, like what specific story do you have, Kola, that actually like provoked that?
Actually, I was walking to my train, and I had somebody approach me, and say, hey, what's the time and stuff like that. And he was looking like, man, I was at that moment where I was like, no, I don't got the time and stuff that. And he just starts cursing at me. He's like, yeah, I saw you had a phone. And I could, because I knew what he was. I knew what he was going to do. He was trying to rob me of my phone because I had it out. I was on it for a while, and I flipped it back. This is how old it is. I flipped it back and put it back in my pocket, right? But he knew I had the phone. So like, so he came up to me, and generally, like, from the part of CMI, like, nobody comes up to a person and pretends to be nice, right? That doesn't happen like that. So I knew that was going to happen, and I was like, no, I don't got the time. And he got upset because he knew I was lying, and I told him, go fuck yourself and stuff like that. And I just walked away, and he didn't follow me. I was watching if he followed me or not. But like, I had to walk around the block a few times, and then once I was gone, I took my train and went back and went to work, right? But yeah, I mean, it happens like that, and like you can't. I mean, especially coming from a city and stuff like that. Like, I don't let my guard down when I'm in the city. Like, it's always
But
up.
where have you? Okay, so the thing is, where was the time when you were legitimately wronged in that sort of scenario?
It's either be wrong or be dead or get robbed in the beginning. He's like, I'm gonna assume anyone's gonna rob me, right? I mean, it really depends on the situation. If you're out on the street or if you're in the bar, like, you know where things are. But yeah, like, I don't even accept free drinks from anybody, because I don't want them putting stuff in my drink and then take all my money and leave.
I got a little butt, Oh. Sorry.
So yeah, so it's like that, right?
Okay.
Just assume that in the big cities, everyone's gonna take advantage of you.
Okay, so it's that sort of mentality. I don't know if you guys seen this video, but it's like a National Geographic video or something like that, of this lizard literally being born into the world, and immediately after it's born, is being chased down by like snakes and shit.
Oh, I saw that
like,
one.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that mentality of like, oh, okay, like, it's full on survival mode. And I can respect that. It's just, for me, because I studied a lot of like cause and effect stuff. So usually there's a reason or something tied to it to create that line of thinking. So, all right, cool. Then, Jack, what do you got?
Yeah, there's a few red flags that pop out to tell that person's not a good person that I've seen. One of them, I had a cousin that I was close to when I was younger. They were not, I think she's a bit estranged, like cut off all the family. But one thing that I've noticed whenever we were talking was that they would never admit that they were wrong about anything. They would always insist that their whatever it was, either worldview or what they think of is always correct. So that's one thing that I can, looking back at it, I could see that would show that that person wasn't very considerate of other people. What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, that's more common than we think. But I guess, do you have like a specific story or example of when that truly showed?
It's like a Trump supporter.
A what?
It's like you tell them anything and they believe it. I'm like, forget it.
Pretty much. I mean, I think it was a while ago. I forget what the topic was, but it was about, actually, I think it was very political. It was about, it's funny because it's about abortion. And then we were talking about how abortion.
We were talking about it?
Not us, but but I was saying about abortion was, we actually, we were talking about abortion and how that was, for some people, they view it as absolutely wrong for every single case. even if it's incest or rape or anything. But then they were pretty adamant about it. Even though a person was raped, they still have to have the baby. But then it's not.
Yeah.
Not their
so
choice.
like when it comes to like politics, that's a whole different beast right there, because it's just like everyone feels wrong at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then there's also when definitely in the wrong with like cutting her mom off and absolutely kicking her out of the house. And then so we basically had to take care of her mother, and then try to get back in contact to try to mend things up, but they would never admit that they were in the wrong for cutting off their side of the family. So we're not on speaking terms after that, the whole family and her.
Still,
yeah.
Damn.
Because her mom eventually passed away without resolving that issue. So it was a sad case. And mind you, she's got like 2 sisters that were also special needs that it basically just cut off all ties, didn't want to have anything to do, never admitted that they were wrong for kicking out or anything. So
yeah, you know, and it sucks too, because a lot of that residual resentment and anger sort of just lingers throughout life too. I was actually having a conversation with one of my buddies earlier today about that, and it was just the idea of like, just dealing with thoughts in our own head, anxieties, and like how we kind of bog ourselves down with a lot of those negative thoughts. And it's not exactly an easy thing to deal with. It's certainly its own practice, but it's like, some people don't get over that shit, and that's the weird thing. It's just like, it's one of those ideas that like time will pass and you'll get over it, but some people just don't. And that's kind of the sad thing too. They just don't get over themselves, or they just never learn to admit when they're wrong. And that's just, so self-awareness is always a real beautiful thing, because it doesn't necessarily show that you're weak. It gives you opportunity to grow and like learn more or understand something better about yourself. But yeah. Well, I mean, that sucks, dude. That you have a family member like that.
yeah,
It's unfortunate, but I mean, either they can choose to get over themselves at some point and just understand what's really important. It doesn't necessarily have to be family, but it's just what's really important about life. It's not about just being right. It's not just about like being like all about like something else.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and I guess along those lines, they always have to be right. Never admit they're wrong and always have to be right. It's kind of like 2 sides of the thing.
Yeah, it's just having been on that side of the spectrum. That's a tiring lifestyle, honestly. You don't get much out of it. It's just, and I'm not saying that I don't try to be right, but it's just like understanding that the perfect should not outdo the good or undo the good. It's just, sometimes it works better for everyone to just kind of like, just, oh, well, I'm just getting into a whole tangent there. Anyways, yeah. Do you have any other examples of what you would deem as a
We only
bad
have
character
a
trait?
few minutes left, so why don't you go
Oh,
ahead?
do we?
Yeah.
Oh shit. There's the time. Let me see. I don't know, because there's a lot of bad character traits that I feel are there.
Okay. So what's one thing that nobody really mentions, or something that you've noticed that sticks out to you?
Mm, well, it's not that no one really mentions it. It's just the whole dealing with the general narcissism.
Hmm.
It's a prominent theme that I've had throughout my life where egos just did not allow people to open up and grow. So it's more about those, and then what did I say? Yeah, because I grew up with like it wasn't even that. It's just our family was definitely a product of its upbringing. Let's just say that, because I went to go visit family in in another country, and one thing was my aunt knew that I was a married man, and she she basically took us and my mom uh, out uh, like out into the country or out into the city and just like have fun. And she was just like she brought us to, but behind tried to do it behind my mom's back, but she tried to bring us to whorehouses. And I was like,
Why your mom was there?
I was like, what the fuck? Like, she tried to bring us to whorehouses, and she's like, no, don't worry, you'll get service here. I'm like, I'm married, okay? Like, that's awkward as fuck. And you would have been the cool aunt maybe like 10 years ago, but this is super awkward right now. So my brother and I are looking at each other.
I think she wanted to share you with the country, Tommy. I mean, walk, walk.
Walk, walk.
I think they wanted. I think she wanted to share you with the home country.
But it was like that shit was awkward as fuck, yo. Because I was just like, the hell. But at the same time, I thought it was really funny. My mom got super pissed about it because she was just like, "The fuck are you doing with my kids like that?" And like, yeah. But because my mom's elderly too, so she's like, she can't walk that far. So it's like, it somehow doubles her anger in that sense. But yeah, it's just it's funny to me because I was just like, well, it's kind of sad that I never got to know you as an aunt. I didn't even know you existed. So, but my parents were like very they taught me a lot of those values of where like, yeah, they're super fucking like you probably don't want to associate with them too much, but it's just like their family. So like their family and people we care about. So it's like, help them out where you can, and do it while holding those like core values. I practice that, but I don't 100% endorse it, because there's still some people that I'm just axing out of my life, because it's just not because I want to like necessarily hate them. It's more like I can't stomach you. Like I can't stomach that way of thinking and that way of life without personal sacrifice to myself, to where I wouldn't feel satisfied. So yeah. But yeah, the narcissistic personality is basically just one that's just like, and I don't know 100% of what that personality entails, but it's certainly it certainly resonates a lot with my own experience with dealing with that type of personality, because a lot of parts of my life, or I'll even give a more recent example. I mean, I had a boss or owner of the company that I dealt with closely. Basically, say like some of the rudest shit I hear in a workplace. I'm sure there's others that are even worse than that, but basically the owner would tell me like, I don't want you, what was it? I don't want our Mexican employees talking to the Mexican drivers because all they do is like talk and not work. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Do you know the percentage of your workforce is Mexican right now? But yeah, it was just like she would tell me that to my face, and I kind of sit there. I'd keep a stoic look on my face, but I'd be I'm pretty damn shocked because it's just like, it's like you kind of have that catatonic look, like, okay, like that just happened.
Can't you report that to HR or something like that?
From the owner of the company, though. And like,
report them, son.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, it's like the owner of the company did not even invest in a proper HR department. They got a third party.
I think that's why they didn't invest in the HR department.
Yeah, that's why. It's just like there's no way. But it was just so crazy. And she would be making a lot of these racist comments too. And the weird thing is like she'd make cracks at Asian people too, but I'm just like, she's half Asian. So I'm just like, that's super.
You wonder, like, she talks about other people behind their backs. What is the shit that she'd probably say when you're not there?
Oh no, it was no, and that's the thing. It's just like
you can actually.
That's the thing. It's so like she tried to gear my mind in her quote unquote sales tactics, or what she deems as sales tactics, where she would tell me to basically tell people that they'll be getting this, but they're not actually getting that. So it's like,
oh, the bait and switch.
Yeah, pretty much. And that was like a common tactic. And like from the way that she presented it too, it was just like, you could tell that it's been ingrained in her. And it's just like, and it's because that's always gotten her what she's wanted. So why not keep doing it? So I mean, it's just that, to me, it's just like, dude, that's gotta be exhausting to kind of like to forge that personality. You have got to have sacrificed a lot of your own like soul and ethics just to get there, and to make it more and more natural. That's just an indicator of like you spent hours and hours and hours of beating on that craft. So I mean, it's just, and they never admitted that they were wrong in anything. Like they took it in, they had a blank look on their face, and then they're just like, okay. Like they just never admitted to being like humbled. So yeah, but hopefully we can all take a lesson from this. And with that, we are out for this week. We'll catch you guys next week in the next episode where Cola discovers who is his long lost child. All right. See you guys later.